Hello, I thought today I would catch up and do a one-take wrap-up for the books I read in March. It is already quite a bit into April, but I wanted to still go over the books that I read in March, so let's go ahead and just get started. In case you don't know, my one-take wrap-ups are just wrap-ups of the books that I read in a month. I just hate editing videos, so I do it in one take so I don't have to edit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the books I read in March. I felt like I had a pretty good reading month, but I will say it was mostly rereads. But I found some books that I, liked. So first off, I read Heartless by Elsie Silver. I did really enjoy this one. I don't know of the two I've read in this series so far, which eventually I'll finish this series and there will be a vlog at some point. I don't know which one I've liked better between the two of them so far, but I did really enjoy Heartless. It was a nanny romance, and that aspect of it I did really like. All the scenes with the kid and everything were really cute. I liked the hero character, but I didn't like, the chemistry wasn't as strong as I think in the first one. I don't know. I don't even know if it was strong enough in the first one. Like, I really like Elsie Silver's writing. I think they're fun books to read, but I wish there was just a little bit more time spent developing why the characters like each other. I think there's just a lot of like, oh, well, the characters are attracted to each other, therefore they love each other, therefore happily ever after. I need just a little bit more like personality. I still liked it. I think I gave it a 4 or 5 stars. I don't remember. So I still liked it. It just wasn't, an all-time favorite. And again, I don't know if I liked the first or the second one better, but we'll keep reading the series and see. Next, I did a lot, like I said, I did a lot of rereads this month. So I read Hunting Prince Dracula, Escaping from Houdini, and Capturing the Devil, all by Carrie Maniscalco. And then for the first time, I actually read Becoming the Dark Prince by Carrie Maniscalco. So a little about this series in general. Stalking Jack the Ripper is the first book in the series. I read 2, 3, 3.5, and 4. And I love this series so much. I can't even completely explain how much I love this series. But Stalking Jack the Ripper follows a character, Audrey Rose. Look, I've actually got some fan art right here I can show you. Follows these characters, Audrey Rose and Thomas Cresswell. So Miss Audrey, she is, isn't this just the most beautiful fan art? I could just look at it forever. I love this dress so much, her wedding dress. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. But Audrey is a high society or higher society girl. It's the late 1800s, like 1890, 1888 maybe? I don't know, late 1800s. And she is kind of bored by the general expectations that are on her. She wants to actually study forensics, and she wants to work with her uncle in autopsies and discovering what happened to people through the autopsy, and study just sciences and anatomy like that. It's definitely not super welcome to have a career in this as a girl in the 1800s, but she does it. So I love her so much. And the first book follows her working with her uncle and meeting Thomas Cresswell, another student of the forensic sciences, and they solve the Jack the Ripper case. And then book 2, Hunting Prince Dracula, they go to a school in Romania for forensic sciences, and they end up solving a case that's like kind of a riff off of the Dracula story, or the Dracula legend, I should say. And then Escaping from Houdini, they go on a ship to sail, I guess is the word, to America, and they meet Harry Houdini, and they have to solve a series of murders on the ship. Capturing the Devil is, I can't think of his name, but it is the America's first serial killer is usually what it's referred to. It's the Devil in the White City. It is the serial killer that was found in Chicago. And I am totally blanking on the name, but so each story, they take a real serial killer from history and kind of twist it into the narrative of these characters, and they solve the case that way. I can't stop yawning. It is just my all-time favorite, like, it's one of my all-time favorite series. It so beautifully captures like emotion as well as excitement. It's a mystery story, so there's something always propelling you forward. The romance between Thomas Cresswell and Audrey Rose is just the most beautiful story. I love it so much. They mean so much to me. And the proposal scene in Capturing the Devil, it's just my all-time favorite, and I love it so much. They are literally just the cutest, and it's sickening. I love Thomas Cresswell. He's like my #1 book boyfriend of all time. I read these books when I was 18, I think, and this was, I think, my first reread since then, to be honest. Except Capturing the Devil came out a couple years after I originally read them, but it's just so good. It's just so good. I recommend this series all the time. It deserves more recognition. It is so underappreciated. And then I also, for the first time, finally read the novella, Becoming the Dark Prince, which was a really interesting little, like, 50-page novella, because we got to see a little bit from Thomas's point of view, which we don't get often in the main books. The entire story is told from Audrey's point of view, and you get glimpses into who Thomas is, obviously, through Audrey, but getting to actually read from his point of view was really, really enjoyable. So I gave those all 5 stars. I love that series. It's amazing. Then I listened to an audiobook, I think my first and only audiobook of the year so far, A Legend in the Baking by Jamie Wesley, and it was okay. It was okay. It was cute while I was listening to it, but it was just forgettable. Like, at this point, I can barely tell you what it was about. And it wasn't that long ago that I read it, but I was trying to pick out an audiobook, and I don't know if this comes from my, like, apathy with audiobooks right now, like, I'm just not into audiobooks right now, or if it was also just, like, not the book for me. The characters, I mean, had good chemistry, and I liked their relationship. It just wasn't the most perfect story for me. Like, it just didn't really keep me engaged, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked the hero a lot. I thought he was a good character, and there was a lot of, like, of an emotional storyline for him to work through, and I liked the setting of them being football players who own a bakery. I thought that was, like, a cool setup, I should say. But yeah, it just was very, like, meh. Like, it was good, but it wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of there. So, another reread. Half of my books this month were rereads. I randomly decided to pick up Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This is another all-time favorite of mine, and I just felt like rereading it. And it's been a long time since I've picked this one up, quite a few years. This is probably my 3rd or 4th time reading it, though, and I just love it so much. It really, like, the characters mean a lot to me, and this book is so nostalgic for me because I read it when I first started college, and that is the plot. It's Kath first starting college, and, like, so at times I was getting a little frustrated with her. I'm like, girl, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do this? But that just is, like, coming from, like, my headspace of being 10 years older, while, okay, 8 years older, while at the time when I read this for the first time, I was thinking in the exact same way that Kath was. Everything that she did, I was like, yeah, no, that's what I would do. That makes sense. But it made me feel really like nostalgic and actually like feel really good like reading this and looking back and looking at me now and being like, I know I would handle that different. And I'd like to think that Kath, 8 years on, would also handle things differently. So it was just a really interesting book to look back on. And it's also just really enjoyable. It's a funny book. But also handles really heavy topics at the same time, and it handles them quite well. There's a lot of mental health conversations in this book, and I very, very much enjoyed the way that it was approached. It approaches it in a serious way, but also with a beat of comedy that I think really makes it approachable. And I love these characters. I love this book, and I think everybody should read it. Plus, I got little hints of my Simon and Baz, and that was really sweet. I knew, like, I remembered that there was quite a bit of her own fan fiction writing in here, but I don't know, I just didn't really think about it until I was reading. I'm like, wow, I get to read Simon and Baz. I miss them so much. It makes me want to do a reread of Carry On and Wayward Son and Any Way the Wind Blows, even though I literally just read those. But those characters probably mean even more to me than Kath and Ren and Levi. I mean, I love them all, but like Simon and Baz, like, Simon just in general is such an amazing character. But so did that reread, loved it, 5 out of 5 stars. And then the last book I read for the month of March is The Fae King's Assassin by Ashlyn. I don't know how to say the last name. Anyway, I liked this book, but I unfortunately did not love this book. I will preface this with the first reason why I didn't like it is my own fault. It has nothing to do with the book. This is a young adult book that I thought was an adult romance. I picked it up. I was like, this is just gonna be a fun, silly, like spicy little romance. That's what I was in the mood to read. I did not read the entire description of the book. It's a young adult book. It is a closed door, no spice, young adult fantasy romance, which is fine, which is great when you're in the mood to read that. But I was like looking for something like quick, and no, I thought I was reading an adult romance, and I wasn't. So that being said, I did still like it. I really liked the world and the setup and the ideas, but I felt like the first 75% of the plot, or the first 75% of the book, was like just act 1 of the plot, and then they shoved acts 2 and 3 into the last 25%. Like, it felt very rushed at the end. There were a lot of plot lines that had to be wrapped up, and they did them very quickly, wherein I feel like they could have easily introduced those, like, or they could have, worked their ways through those, like, plot B and plot C earlier on in the book, so they had more time and more opportunity to explain really what was going on. So I liked it. I didn't love it. I probably will still read the other books in the series though, because I have them, and I did really like the world, and I thought that it was good writing. It just wasn't exactly what I was expecting, and maybe it was a little bit rushed, but still, it was pretty good. So those are all the books I read in the month of March. I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!